forging her path in singles competition here at WOW Women of Wrestling.
You know, when she started with Exile, I always had a suspicion that Genesis always wanted to be a breakout star. And she found her footing in there with Exodus, the tutelage of Malaya. She then took over, tossed Malaya out. Then she got in there and took care of Ice Cold and her partner, Exodus. And she is where I think she always wanted to be.
And her opponent from Columbia, South Carolina, G.I. Jane.
Columbia, South Carolina's very own from Fort Jackson. And before Genesis came out, we heard words from her, David, and she told G.I. Jane, you better bring everything that you learned at Fort Jackson if you want a chance against me. Very strong words, if you ask me,
Well,
David.
you can tell G.I. Jane is serious here. G.I. Jane is all business when she enters that WOW ring.
And G.I. Jane, 9 years serving the United States of America. Active service with the Army Reserves, here to compete, and certainly a fan favorite here at Women of Wrestling. Genesis looking to make a name for herself in the singles ranks. So is G.I. Jane, though, Dave.
That's right. Both of these competitors want to get a win here, but G.I. Jane making a mistake. Genesis rushed her right before the bell was even to be signaled by the referee.
And Genesis just so aggressive in the early goings of this matchup. And really you can tell that she had a chip on her shoulder, David, and a game plan to take out G.I. Jane early on in this matchup. Genesis going for a pinfall attempt already, not even 30 seconds into this contest, David. And what an episode of WOW we have for you here tonight. Las Banditas going to be challenging the WOW World Tag Team Champions, the Mother Truckers.
Well, that's the main event tonight, Nigel.
That's right, David, and I can't wait for it now as Genesis, with the X-choke on G.I. Jane, continues to maintain control in this matchup. But, David, we've got other great matches coming up as well.
Well, Coach Campanelli will be in there against Little J Boogie, who no longer hangs with BK Rhythm, by the way. Now she hangs with Steffi.
Steffi slays a newfound friend here in WOW over the last month and a half for Little J Boogie. G.I. Jane finds her way back in this contest. Backsplash and now a forearm.
Oh, nice forearm by G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane picking up Genesis now. Fireman's carry.
That's right. Take a look at that. That's the grenade drop by G.I. Jane, and she gets two, says Paige Principali, the official in this contest. G.I. Jane has found herself back into this contest, both women on a vertical base now. G.I. Jane swings wildly, and now G.I. Jane setting up. Can she connect? Yes, the maggot drop from G.I. Jane. Once again, hooking the leg of Genesis, and once again, Genesis powering out at 2.
Genesis has been on a winning streak ever since she was been a single competitor. And G.I. Jane would like nothing more than to upset that streak. Oh, missing there with the big leg drop.
And with great elevation, missing Genesis, and that could cost G.I. Jane dearly. As we know, Genesis, a submission specialist, and you have to be careful when you're in the ring with a competitor like that, David, because she could very easily pick apart G.I. Jane.
Look at the boot going right to the midsection.
Adding insult to injury was Genesis to G.I. Jane now, as Genesis continues the attack on the leg of G.I. Jane. Genesis wanting to make a point here, not only to G.I. Jane, but to the rest of the WOW locker room, and certainly the superhero with the biggest target on her back, the WOW World Champion, the Beast, who we saw soundly defeat Penelope Pink. That's another thing I want to talk about, David. You know, Tiki Chamorro and also the Beast, both of those matches that Penelope Pink lost, Vicky Lynn McCoy was trying to help Penelope Pink out and seemed to cause a major issue.
I might say Vicky Lynn cost Penelope Pink a shot at the championship.
But hey, we're not trying to start any problems between those
Why
fine
not?
ladies
They
and
like
the
to
fabulous
stir the
four.
pot. We'll stir the pot.
I'm being facetious, but Genesis certainly isn't, with this half Boston Crab applied on G.I. Jane, who uses that great leg strength to power out David, sending Genesis across the ring.
She powered up from that push-up, not getting all the way up before the legs took over. There's a nice clothesline by G.I. Jane. Another one applied to Genesis. G.I. Jane coming into her own right now. A boot to Genesis.
Yes, that's right, David. Boot camp from G.I. Jane sends Genesis down. G.I. Jane on fire, and she can taste victory right now, David.
Certainly can, as she's slowly picking up Genesis. Segwaying her head right between the legs and picking her up. Genesis able to slip out of that possible power bomb. Raking the eyes of G.I. Jane, and now tossed backward.
That's the full Nelson Buster by Genesis, a move that she's used to finish off several opponents. But now G.I. Jane from behind, schoolgirl roll up, and yes, it's over that quick. 1, 2, 3.
Here is your winner.
Genesis took her eye off the ball, if you will, Nigel.
She certainly did, David. She